Hello and welcome to the second ever episode of Two Men and a Bell. Again, we've got myself, Christopher, and Joseph, and today's subject topic is football.
So, I have been given the rather sorry job, I used that trick last time, of introducing our special guests. So we're joined by Rhea.
What's happening?
And Morgan.
Hey.
So, I've just got to remind you all that the views expressed in this podcast do not represent St Aidan's High School, North Lanarkshire Council, or, in my instance today, the Scottish Football Association.
Yeah, we should probably say it now, Christopher is a referee.
Yeah. So,
I'll start. The first point I want to get out there is, I'll start with Christopher, is what team do you support, Christopher, and why?
well, when I'm not wearing the black jersey, I would attend the Celtic games, so I would say I'm a Celtic fan, yes.
Rhea?
Celtic, because that was really, but probably because just my family support them and we're winning trophies, aren't we? Hail, hail.
Morgan?
Celtic again, and because I've been a season ticket holder for nearly 7 years now.
So a very unbiased selection here.
Joseph, what team do you support?
What do you support, Joseph? Well, can't.
What's a football again? No, I wanted to start with something, I don't know if it's controversial or not, I'm sure there'll be some strong feelings about this. But I do watch the news if I don't really follow football that much. And Brendan Rodgers. Mm-hmm. I could see the cringes when I said that name. What do you think? Who'd like to start? Rhea?
Well,
Don't say anything too bad.
it was a bit unusual, to be honest. Well, I would say I seen it coming, but not this soon. Especially at this time in the season, it wasn't really, didn't think it would happen. Quite a letdown. Thanks, Rodgers. But, yeah, it's really
Morgan,
unusual.
you got any opinions on this?
He's a snake, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah,
I kind of guessed that he was going to go. I had a feeling that he's been talking about this for months in advance, and then just decided to drop it on us like a bomb.
Yeah.
Well, some would say if he's been
Depending.
talking about it for months, surely that's plenty of notice.
But I just thought it'd be at the end of the season, never mind halfway through it when we're doing well.
I thought he would at least have stayed until the Glasgow Derby, because his
Yeah.
celebrations you can't not have, you can't see.
Turns out he was a wee bit more two-faced than we thought.
Yep.
See, I kind of have a slightly differing view from the two of you. I think if it's best for him, his family, and his career, go for it. Well, if it was any other job and you were being offered 3 times the money, it'd be
Yeah.
on you
I agree with
go.
that too, but
The fact that he's a football manager shouldn't make any difference. He's making an
Yeah.
improvement for his life and his family, so
I do agree with that also.
go for it.
I'm going to disagree with you as well, but see how, if you look at it,
After this.
look at what he had for Celtic. He's got the pitch, he's got the players, the stadium, the lights, he's got everything. He's going he's going from having everything and then going back all the way back down
to the beginning.
nothing.
But I think if he said it was his dream job, then it's the way he's left. He's left quite sudden.
No, I do agree that he has left a bit suddenly, but if that's what he feels is best for his family and his career, then yeah, go for it. See how he does.
Fair enough. And on to pursue in a similar vein, Neil Lennon.
He's home.
Yeah, I'm
He's
happy
home.
with it because it's weird as well because see both their first games we played the same people played Hearts, also 1-2-1, and also the first goal scorer was James Forrest. So I think that's quite ironic, isn't it?
Why is it ironic?
Because it's just that was
He
both
started Neil Lennon. Did James Forrest not start with Neil Lennon
Ah,
as
he
well?
has,
So
and-
it's as if he's watched him from a boy to grow up to a man.
And James Forrest has also seen some of Neil Lennon's bad sides.
Yeah,
And
he's-
everyone knows that. But yeah.
I think it's quite good that Neil Lennon's back at Celtic. He certainly did well in his first tenure as manager. Last Celtic manager to guide them into the round of 16 of the Champions League. Neil got into the round of 16 the season after. And he did win the league. It's start of the current 7 in a row run. Possibly going to be 8 at the end of the season. And then we all know the Celtic fans are dreaming of 10 in a row, but
It's going to happen.
it's going to be close, that one. We'll need to wait and see.
So you all
Yeah.
do seem quite optimistic about the future for Celtic. Do
Yeah.
you think it's still right to be optimistic?
Well, you still need to
Still
have
need
your
to-
dreams, so
yeah,
you
still need
still
to
want to
believe
believe.
in your club, don't you? So
Yeah. No other team's ever done 10 before, so it's good.
We need
Sitting
to,
vying
be
the
Rangers
first.
and get over 9 at least.
yeah, definitely. I think that's why people really
I think that's why we wanted
really?
to be
Yeah.
like 10 in a row, so like we've like got
One
the
up
world
them.
record, or the record of it.
yeah.
So now that we've got the Celtic fanboyism out the way, I'd like to talk about something a little different. Upcoming games. I say this might go very much back to Celtic here.
Yes.
It's sort of linked in the discussion we were just having.
Yep.
Any upcoming games you're looking forward to?
Tomorrow we've got
Hibs,
Hibs
which
Cup
is-
game. Quite an important game, especially with Neil Lennon.
Yeah,
As he was-
quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup are always a
You
tough
got the
game.
refereeing, Chris.
Yeah.
Look, you need to. It's the business end of the competition. You can't afford to slap up, and it'll be interesting to see how Neil Lennon manages to, if he can maintain the form that he picked up against Hearts the other night, to continue on into the Hibs game and take Celtic into the semi-finals. But if he does lose, then it's the end of the treble dream. But the fact that Celtic have got the double treble is good enough, I'd say. No other team has ever won 2 trebles in a row, so doing 3 might be just a little optimistic, but we'll see what happens at the weekend against Hibs.
Yeah, I think it's another example of like how Brendan's left a bit soon, because obviously we've got quite a lot of important games, including this one. Like this could be it.
I think we'll manage it. I got a feeling I'm going to be sitting at work tomorrow checking my phone to see what the score is, and I feel like we're
Be
going
on
to.
your phone at work, Morgan.
Oh, well, I feel like I'm going.
Don't do that.
I feel like we're going to do that. I think we're going to get a good
Yeah.
score tomorrow. There's got to be. If we don't get a good score, there's something wrong. I want
Yeah.
I want Celtic to show Hibs what they've lost, basically.
Obviously, we
from
can't
them.
talk about upcoming games without mentioning the Old Firm game
Oh, here
Oh,
we
yeah.
go.
in a few weeks' time.
Buzzing.
What's your views on the famous Glasgow derby?
I'm going.
Well, I'm not.
I'll be there.
sadly, but I'm quite buzzing because, you know, hopefully we can beat Rangers this time. Because sadly, the last time it failed.
Well, they've got to be home. They'll be in their own stadium. They'll feel at home, and there's got to be like there's 50,000 of us or something like that. This is going to make it so much louder.
Also Aberdeen soon as well.
Yeah, Aberdeen.
Saturday as
That
well.
one.
On Saturday,
I'll
yeah.
bet that one, yeah.
I was going to say, maybe moving away from Celtic a little bit, but still in the same vein, I kind of wanted to talk about the Scottish League table. And I kind of wanted to discuss, I'll show you it there. Great visual aids here, by the way. When it comes to the Scottish League table, what do you make of it? I know Celtic is obviously at the top there, but
Yay.
let the record show that everybody just made thumbs up. So, any opinions?
Yep. So you look at the board. Hibs is 6 and Celtic is 1. So basically, Neil Lennon has upgraded, and basically, that's all I have to say really.
I'm a firm believer, though, talking about Hibs and Celtic, that anything can happen in cup football. Look,
True.
it's not a league. 90 minutes
Yeah.
decides everything. Or in this, if there's a draw, 180 minutes decides everything, because then it will go to a replay. But anything can happen. Whether you're playing 12th in the league or 1st in the league, you've still got that chance to run out and cause an upset on Cup Day. So, the league doesn't really say anything as to what might happen tomorrow. As for the league itself, obviously there's an 8-point gap between Celtic and Rangers just now. Rangers are very free scoring.
Yeah.
That could be a concern for all the teams in the league.
True.
And look at that, they've achieved
scored
2.
about
Second.
20 goals in the
goal.
last 4 games or something like that. Well, they put 10 in 2 a couple
Yeah.
of weeks back,
Yeah.
so they are scoring at will, and that is putting the other teams in the league at notice. The only
Yep.
thing is Celtic are scoring more at will because their goals scored are higher across the season.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. Morelos is like the top goal scorer so far, and with 14 goals like this season so far. So that's great news, isn't it?
So then moving on, I wanted to stay on Scottish football, but this is a personal question, right?
Oh,
Oh God, I know. I've not had time to prepare an answer for this one.
Nope.
I've always wondered, right, why Scotland can have a culture so based around football, yet our national team are so bad. Like, I don't follow football, but even I know Scotland's chance on the national level is not the best.
I think it's the manager. Just saying.
Who is the current manager?
Alex
Alex
McLeish,
McLeish.
innit? Yeah, he's not the best, is he? Well, that's my opinion, but he's okay. But it's the team as well. It's not obviously just the
One
manager.
could dispute that Alex McLeish is doing a good job. He did just win his UEFA Nations League group.
Fair enough.
Promotion into League B, guaranteed Euro 2020 playoff spot.
Right, we'll give him that.
Fingers crossed.
We'll give him that. But
But how can Scotland have so many good football teams yet not win any national trophies?
It depends what team. Like there is so many Scottish footballers out there, but it depends if they want to join the team. Because there is
Yeah.
there's some players that have
Some aren't
been,
interested.
and then they're just not interested anymore.
Because you can get called up and say no. That is
Yeah.
Yeah, like
a thing.
it's
You
your
can't just
decision.
turn around and tell them, no, I'm not playing. You've seen that with Lee Griffiths.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Last year, during the Nations League campaign, Alex McLeish called him up and Lee Griffiths just went, no, I'm not playing for you. So
I mean, fair enough.
that might be a bit of a burden for the Scottish national team. There could be quality Scottish football turning
Yeah.
around and saying,
Yeah.
no.
Kieran Tierney's also done the same
Yeah,
with
he's
that
done
as
that as
well.
well.
He's phoned up. It's
I
just a
think-
waiting game, really, isn't it?
It is, but I think Alex McLeish is quite like. I like him, like some points, but I think he's just a bit of a weird one, innit?
You
weird one.
do just need to look at the difference though between the
Yeah,
call-ups
and I
between
have,
Alex
yeah.
McLeish
Yeah.
and Gordon Strachan, the previous Scotland manager.
Yeah.
It appears to be a big mix with Alex McLeish, whereas Gordon Strachan was very Celtic heavy.
Yeah, it was.
When you looked at his call-ups, I don't know whether that's because of Celtic's dominance in the league at the time. That was during the unbeaten run. 69 games is unprecedented. And then Hearts ended that with a 4-0 drubbing at Tynecastle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is an interesting one with the national team. It's not really describable. They're just mince.
Yeah, it's just strange.
So I want to move away from Scotland for a moment. I kind of want to talk about football as a sport. And I wanted to ask, I mean, you'll all admit football careers are quite short. The career of a footballer can be quite a short one.
Yeah.
And it can be cut even shorter by things like injuries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think the sport still suffers a lot of, I don't know, bad press around players getting injuries and retiring early? Do a lot of players get injuries? Is it that common a
Yeah,
thing?
it's
Yeah,
common.
it's-
It's common.
Especially, yeah, right now
At
as well.
the top level, it is pretty common for a player to get injured, but one could dispute that's because of how hard they work their bodies to perform at such a high level week in, week out. So there is injuries. Injuries are a thing that happen in football, but there's nothing really anyone can do to prevent it. We're not indestructible. Humans do hurt themselves.
How common are like career-ending injuries in footballers?
Oh,
Oh,
but quite common.
quite-
It can happen all the time.
Yeah.
For example, Chris Commons.
Yeah.
Hurt his
that's-
back, he get injured, hurt his back, and that's him out of football.
So my next question: what sort of opportunities exist for players like that? Do they go back to normal life?
Well, again, Chris Commons, he now commentates some of the games if they're playing in the Scottish
Yeah, so-
Yeah,
Premier
it
League,
varies.
so-
Some of them will go back to the club that they were with and
Yeah,
work as
coach.
an ambassador role or a coach or whatever to bring up new young players. Some of them will go to like Sky Sports and become a pundit. It just varies, and some of them will just go back to normal life. It's all up to the individual
pundit.
player, really.
Fair enough.
Is being a pundit a really good thing though?
No, not really.
It depends. Some pundits are.
What's wrong with being a pundit?
One would dispute the user being a pundit just now by sitting
I
here
know,
talking
but,
about
like,
football.
Yeah, but I don't really know a lot, to be honest. So just here.
What's wrong with pundits?
Some of them are just quite.
It just depends.
Yeah.
Who's playing and who's.
Yeah, they can be quite.
Bias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biased. That word. No, but yeah, it just depends, innit?
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring up a little inside information for you here. I know that, see, when it comes to like the money involved in football, like Sky Sports paid millions and millions of pounds to get the rights. Was it to the Premier League?
Try billions.
Billions.
Yeah.
See, with all that money going about, do you think football clubs could be doing more with that money? Because I know that, like, Rangers recently, I say recently, a few years ago went into liquidation. How can... I knew that would get giggles.
You can't say that and not
How-
expect
I know.
giggles, Joseph.
How can a club that has so much money go into such bad financial straits?
Because they didn't actually have the money.
They had nothing.
Yeah, unlucky.
They were relying on loans and
Loans
payouts
and
from the bank and
yeah.
stuff to keep going. They didn't actually have the money that they were spending. You just need to look at the 2018 financial report from Rangers Football Club. They lost £16 million. Celtic, on the other hand, made a profit of £16 million.
It's as if they've just like Celtic have just went like and swiped it all and wanted it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
although it might look like there's lots of money, some clubs just don't have the money to finance what the bigger clubs are paying. And as for like the Sky Sports rights and stuff, I completely disagree with that. I don't think English football is of the quality that deserves £1 billion to put a TV camera in a stadium. Look, why? It's not any better than La Liga or the Bundesliga. So why are they paying so much for English football, which is in essence more a foreign league than an English league when you look at the amount of players from England that play in it? Look, there's hardly any English players in the English league. It's all foreigners. So why are Sky Sports, a good British broadcasting company, paying so much to watch foreign football just because it's played in England?
Morgan was laughing through that. What's your opinions on... I've got
It's
an
just the way
applaud.
he was ranting through
Yeah,
it.
it was very.
It was
Do you-
very detailed.
Do you agree with him?
I do agree.
Yeah, like it is more like if you do look, there's like
Definitely is.
probably like 20% worth of English footballers in the English league,
Yeah.
and the rest just different. Like
Yeah, it's
how
just-
I'd word that different like different players from different countries.
It's just the way
It's just the way it's worked.
I'd like to come in with a question here. Joseph, you could probably chime in on this one as well, depending on how much you followed the World Cup last year. What did you think of the English TV stations' coverage of the World Cup? The perceived arrogance that, oh, we're going to win it. We haven't played a game yet, but we're
Oh.
going to win it. You just had to look at the BBC. They showed a video package of what might happen if England won the World Cup before they'd even played their first group stage game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they went to the semi-finals, but then when they got beat, I'm going to be honest, I was almost laughing at some of the
Yeah.
pundits' faces. They looked so crestfallen, and it's like that's kind of your tuppence for being so arrogant at the start of the tournament. What's your views on it?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch any of the World Cup, and I don't know anything to do with it. So I'm
I
out this
was
question.
I was on holiday at the time, and I remember just sitting in there like, and most of the like room was filled with like England fans, and they were just singing. See that song, England, no football's coming home, whatever. they were
Yeah,
singing.
It's
Football's
coming
coming
home.
home,
It's coming
yeah.
home.
They were singing that, and then when they got beat, they just went really quiet. It was quite laughable actually, and yeah, I think they just expected a lot.
I can contribute to this. I know that you mentioned the BBC covering England's football team, and I know for a fact that the England crest was mentioned in Parliament. In Parliament, they had a few votes on stuff, and I believe they put the England football team flag up at Downing Street.
I'm not sure, but
I think they did something like that. But do you think it's right for the British government to cover English football? Because there's not like a British football team.
No, there's not.
No,
well, there is when it's the Olympics. But
Yeah, true.
yeah, but like
But there's
football.
if the British government are just covering England, what about Scotland? Are they not going to cover that as well?
Do you think if Scotland made it to the semi-finals, the BBC would cover it?
No.
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 Maybe BBC Scotland would like do their channel.
Sports scene and stuff
Yeah,
on BBC
they-
Scotland, they might, but
They might be. No, I
main
don't think so.
BBC, I wouldn't say
No,
so.
because
Just on that vein, obviously we here in Wisha, the commercial had the sign up on the side during the World Cup, hashtag anyone but England. That
Oh yeah, that was brilliant.
picked up a bit of bad press from the Conservative councillor for the area, who was saying, "Oh, we should be united behind England and stuff." What's your thoughts on that? Are we allowed to have a friendly rivalry
We
against
should be.
England? It's the old enemy.
Yeah, it's just
That-
that like
It's deep rooted Scotland versus
Yeah.
England. It's a huge footballing rivalry. So why should we throw that aside just because Scotland aren't in the World Cup and England are?
Well, it is good to obviously support England, but not at the same time. If you get what I mean, like if we like say that we made it to like, the semi-finals of the World Cup, England wouldn't help support. Like they wouldn't do anything to do like deal with it. They would just like say, "Oh, they're in the World Cup. It doesn't matter." But whereas they get into the semi-finals, and we like helped support. We were like encouraging it, like in some way.
yeah,
I always say, watching a documentary about the run up to Scottish independence, and one of the main things that was mentioned was football. And it's saying when England won the World Cup, was it the 60s?
Yeah, 1966.
There was I always thought there was a picture of the crowd, and it was full of Union Jacks.
Yeah.
And I thought, what has happened since then that has separated out kind of Scotland football fans from English football fans?
England winning the World Cup.
Yeah, that.
yeah.
That would have played quite a big difference, but that would have no doubt been the majority of English fans with their Union Jacks and stuff. I'm not sure where the World Cup was held that year. Can
No,
any
I
of you
don't know.
enlighten me? Okay.
I know they played West Germany.
Back in the days when Germany was in two. But a lot of English fans are maybe... I've seen a lot of Union Jacks in Russia at the World Cup this year, and there was only one British team in it. Look, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland all failed to qualify.
Yay.
So the fact that all the Union Jacks were there that time might show that it's the English fans taking the Union Jacks and it isn't actually the Union supporting the Union. It's English fans pretending to support the Union even though they're just there to cheer on England.
It was
London?
in London.
Wembley
It was in
Stadium.
Wembley Stadium.
That might also answer why there were so many Union Jacks. It was in England.
Wembley.
I wanted to go on to a slightly more difficult point of conversation.
Okay.
You can already feel the
Tension.
cringes of who wants to answer first. On notes of division, there's been a lot in the news recently by a few comments made by, was it a pundit who made a few comments about sectarianism in Scotland?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you think trying to say, you're all Celtic fans, right?
Yeah.
Do you think Celtic is equally responsible for the sectarianism in Scotland?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both are as bad as each other. I'm looking mainly at Celtic and Rangers.
Yeah,
They're the two big
definitely.
teams. But
that's a big one.
you also need to look at Celtic and Hearts. Hearts are described by Celtic fans as mini Rangers. And
Definitely.
they certainly show it. The Hearts fans show up to their games with their Union Jacks and everything, whereas the Celtic fans will show up with their saltires and their tricolours. And it just appears to be rooted in football. And personally, I don't think it's right to have any sort of sectarianism in the game. It is something that I know the Scottish FA are trying to get rid of, and I feel the club should be actively supporting that as well. Sectarianism has no place in football, and we should certainly be striving to get rid of it.
Yeah, I think it's just terrible. It's just it just brings like a bad name upon fans. I think it's just not great.
It's just the way fans act, doesn't it?
It
It just
is,
depends
yeah.
what kind, like type of game it is. Like it'll be whenever it's the Glasgow Derby, it'll just like
Kick
it'll
off.
just kick off.
As it always does.
So, what do you think? Is it the fans themselves that cause all this sectarianism, or the football club sort of?
I think it might be a slight mix of
Yeah,
both.
it
Like you look
depends.
at Celtic Park, what flags do they fly above it? It's the tricolour, the saltire, and the league flag and
Yeah.
stuff. Look at Rangers, they fly the Union Jack above their stadium. So the clubs doing things like that might brew it a little bit, but I'd say it is mainly due to the fans.
Yeah. Okay. With that.
But then the Scottish Government recently introduced the Offensive Behaviour at Football Act, and that was universally hated, as far as I can gather, by football fans. What do you think could be done in football to stop this sort of behaviour without going to randomly picking people out of crowds to arrest them?
I think the clubs might have a strong thing, like a strong part in it. They could do their best to promote it. They could look to internally investigate any things to do with sectarianism and act themselves to show, look, we're against that. Well, let's say a Celtic fan was caught doing sectarian singing in Celtic Park. If Celtic Park could identify who that fan was, they could then ban them for however long they wanted. Things like that, rather than leaving it to the police to put in football ban orders, the club, I think, should look to do it themselves to send out a message: this will not be tolerated at this football club.
What do you think, Ria? Do you think it's just part of the rivalry? Do you feel like it'll ever go away?
That's a hard one because if they'd done something like what Christopher said, I think maybe it would. But like, I just think it's just gone on so long now that
It's sort of entrenched.
yeah.
So the only problem that I can feel like Christopher's saying is it's all right if one person's singing, but you can't arrest
Everyone.
Like,
50,000 people.
Yeah. It's
Other
just
people
like
joining
whenever
in, innit?
they banned the Green Brigade from Celtic Park for singing them, like they had
Yeah,
to ban.
exactly.
Like, it was like 900 fans, and the park was like so quiet
It's because when
Yeah.
they
because they
But
just
the
make the
sectarian
noise.
thing did go away.
yeah.
If they'd stop that, definitely, like I think they've learnt their lesson that they can't sing
Yeah.
that.
It's because like when they done that, like others were just jumping the bandwagon. That's what just happens. Loads of people just jump on the bandwagon. It makes it worse.
It'll
Yeah.
start and then it'll just grow, and then all of a sudden the whole stadium's singing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, look, when we're talking about sectarianism and things, clubs shouldn't have to lose their roots either.
No.
No.
Look, we know that Celtic has a strong Irish community and stuff.
Yep.
That's when you see them singing songs like the Fields of Athenry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grace, etc. That's okay because that's
Yeah.
like Irish folk songs. It's not promoting sectarianism or anything.
Yeah.
It is just acting on what the community of the club is.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't have to lose that just because of trying to defeat sectarianism and everything. But some of the songs sang should be banned.
Yeah,
by clubs.
definitely.
Definitely.
So I want to get your opinion on this, Morgan. When it comes to Celtic versus Rangers, for example.
Yep.
I mean, I don't follow football particularly much, but if you see like a video on the news,
Yep.
the two flags you see are the Irish flag,
Yep.
the Republic of Ireland flag, and the British flag.
Yes.
Do you think it's time that the club sort of embraced their Scottishness rather than... I know Christopher's talking about keeping their roots,
Yeah.
but do you think they should move towards being more Scottish?
Well, like we do fly like the Saltire all the time. Like they've made their own. It's like green and white, so that they are still showing it. But see, when you look really, like it's mostly Rangers are more like, I don't know, that they're more like against. Like, I think it's if they're against Scotland for some reason, even though they are a Glasgow-based team. So it's just like,
I feel that the tricolour is flown by Celtic because Celtic was formed by an Irishman.
Yeah. which is good.
Brother Walfred was an Irishman, and it was founded to maintain the dinner tables of the poor Irish community in Glasgow. That was Celtic's founding goal. It was a football club to help the people who were recovering from the famine and things. Something that Rangers fans do like to remind Celtic fans of when they sing things like the famine is over, but obviously that's not acceptable. You can't be taunting clubs just because they've got an Irish background that were founded during the famine. You can't sit and taunt that. Things like that are what brews the sectarianism and what keeps it going.
So what do you think, Rhea?
Just yeah. I hear what they're saying, but like yeah.
Do you think it's time that football teams like Celtic and Rangers were more Scottish?
Yeah, definitely. Because, well, I mean, Celtic are
We are a Scottish
We are,
Cup.
but it's,
we are a
I
Scottish-
think it's Rangers as well. Like what Morgan said, like Rangers are just quite against it. I don't
It's
know why.
as
It's
if they
strange.
don't want to be a part of like our culture because the Scottish culture because there is a lot of good like Scottish teams in there like as if they don't want to be a part of it, as if they want to be more
Yeah.
England based.
It's as if it's just cause of Celtic that they're against it.
Yeah, that's what.
Obviously, though, Celtic is as bad as Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before
we
every game, the Celtic safety officer has a message played over the PA, and it says Celtic Football Club
Are not
was a
tolerated.
club founded in 1888, open to all.
Yeah.
Sometimes sitting in Celtic Park, it isn't open to
No,
all.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like
it
that.
doesn't feel like that.
Look, the fans will attack certain groups of people,
Yeah.
such as
Referees.
referees and what you call it, non-Catholics
Yeah,
as well. There's
oh, yeah.
a lot
Oh, yeah.
of hate in the Celtic fans towards non-Catholics. Look, I was sitting in Celtic Park and the referee made the decision against Celtic at the Airdrieonians game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And a boy sitting behind me just yelled Protestant at the referee, and I'm sitting there thinking, what does that have to do with it? He's doing his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
But some
what does
referees-
religion have to do with the fact that he's went out to make sure that you can actually play football?
But there is some referees that some like.
They're very biased.
Yeah, there's some teams like there's well not teams. There's some like groups of fans that don't like certain like referees. There's like there's just the same referee for certain games, and then you're just expecting to see what happens.
I did want to raise this point. I'll bring you in a minute, Rhea. Sorry. Talking about referees, recently referees have been getting quite a bad rap.
Oh yeah.
What
Yep.
would you do to stop such biases as that? What do you think needs to be done about referees in Scotland?
Maybe if they didn't have a Rangers season ticket.
Yeah, like it should be the referees that don't support either of the teams that should be playing for certain games, because like say it was like the Glasgow Derby, say the referee could support Celtic, they'll give all the like bad like yellow card, red cards, and all that to Rangers. But if it was a Rangers fan, it's like the complete opposite. So I feel that it should be like a referee that doesn't support any of them.
So I was going to ask, is that not how it currently is? Is it just randomly select? Christopher, you referee over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is it decided what referees do what matches?
It is down to the Scottish Football Association. The Scottish Football Association has got a category system that decides what leagues you're able to referee and when. And also when it comes to games like the Glasgow Derby, they will look to their elite Category 1 officials, usually the ones on the FIFA list. So the fact that FIFA has come to these referees and said, look, we endorse you, here's our you can wear our badge. You're not just wearing the SFA's badge, you can wear the top dogs in football
Yeah.
when you're out in that field. That's usually, and then the SFA will select it from a list and go, you have this game, you have that game. Yes, those referees may have their allegiances, but it is the expectation of not just the SFA or FIFA, but of football, for them to set those allegiances aside when you step onto the field of play. Obviously, the rules are set by the International Football Association Board, made up of the Scottish FA, the Welsh FA, the English FA, the Northern Irish FA, and FIFA, representing all other member organisations. So the fact that the Scottish FA is named specifically when making the laws of the game, look, the IFAB AGM is happening, I think, this weekend at Hampden Park, International Football Association Board. The IFAB AGM is happening at Hampden Park. So those referees obviously are expected to enforce that rule and put any biases aside for the good of football. So looking at their club allegiances shouldn't matter when the SFA are making their selections.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was watching the news recently because I'm a boring person. But
Join the club.
not the football club. It's a terrible joke. There was some talk recently of bringing in foreign referees.
Can I come in quickly on that one? The SFA have put in a statement saying that any speculation about foreign referees was false. There was no discussion in
Well-
regards to foreign referees coming out of Scotland.
damn.
There we go. That's it. Win for you,
Still
Joseph.
raising the point as a hypothetical thing. Do you think Scottish referees are still capable of refereeing Scottish football games? Do you think they can
Depends.
still be trusted?
Yes and no. Mainly yes. But like, yeah, but they're very biased, which we've said already. Been there. But I don't,
How many
Yeah.
referees are there in Scotland? Sort of top level ones.
Top
Couldn't
level
count.
officials, we have
quite a lot.
22 match officials on the FIFA list.
There we go.
Surely that
22.
means you can rotate them where particular
It
referees
should be,
don't
but
go
it
It
to
doesn't
should
work.
be,
particular-
but
It
that's
doesn't-
not the way it works.
It doesn't work.
Obviously, those 22 are referees and assistant referees. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure how many centre referees we have on the FIFA list and assistants. I don't have those numbers, but it's 22 on the FIFA list. So you could do your best, but if you don't have as many centre referees, you can't do that rotational thing.
So I wanted to link back to a few things we said earlier. I want to get all of your answers to this.
Right.
The question is, what's your worst memory of being a member of your football club? Rhea, you seem...
I'd say maybe when the last Old Firm when we lost, that was quite hard to
It's
take
quite
in,
soul
wasn't it?
destroying.
It was quite soul destroying. So it's kind of like Celtic weren't playing great that day, were they?
No,
Listen,
not
we
really.
weren't really going for it like we usually do, and yeah, I'd
Well,
say
it
that.
was 2 days after Christmas, so
So-
we're full of Christmas dinner. So
I'm going to disagree with Rhea, actually. I'd seen that Old Firm loss coming. We'd won 13. Well, we'd been unbeaten in 13,
Disagree.
won most of them in a row. So it was only a matter of time before Rangers beat us.
Yeah,
It
I-
was going to happen.
Yeah, it was coming.
Yeah.
I would say it might be a little. I might be a little too young to properly remember this, but Helicopter Sunday.
What?
Celtic
When?
won 2004 season, I believe it was.
right.
Christopher would 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
No, but
I-
still
that-
alive, still counts. Helicopter Sunday. Both teams were tied, I think it was, going into the final
what?
game of the season. Rangers won their game, and Motherwell scored 2 in the last 10 minutes to lose Celtic the league, scored by Scott McDonald.
All right, okay.
That would probably be the worst, because Celtic were moments away from winning the league, and they blew it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, in a similar vein, has there ever come a time, this might be painful to admit, where you've been embarrassed to be a member of your football club?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Would you
Yeah.
really openly say
It's
"No,
just like back to sectarianism. Whenever we were singing the
That too,
songs,
yeah.
you just feel like you should be so embarrassed of what happened. Like you shouldn't be thinking like, oh yeah, that's supposed to be brilliant, and you're sitting cringing at your seat whenever that's happening. You're like, you don't know how to react with it.
Yeah, like the game the other day. It was
Motherwell game?
wasn't it?
Oh.
That was really bad because of the poor decisions again. But yeah, it was quite a lot to take in, especially with all the comments that were being made,
Yeah.
especially in, like where I was sitting. It was really bad anyway. But
So there been a time where you're sitting with a group of people and something like this has come up and you have sort of been embarrassed to say,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I support
Well,
Celtic
I'm
football
like
team."
right next to the Green Brigade, so I hear everything. So you don't. I can't really. Like, I sit and cringe through most of the game anyway with some of the actions that I hear, like the reactions that I hear. So
I think after a couple of seasons back, and I believe it was an Old Firm game, where the Green Brigade unfurled the mocked sniper at work sign from back in the Irish Troubles.
oh yeah,
With a picture of Brendan. That was probably That was probably the time that I'm like, no, I don't want to associate with that. I don't want to say, oh, I'm a supporter of Celtic FC, because I can't endorse that. That's unacceptable.
yeah,
So in a similar vein though, I'm sure there's, I can't admit, I've only ever been to a few football games in the flesh. I could count it
at least you've been
on
to.
my hand. I've been to a couple.
which where?
I can't remember. I think it was a Celtic game.
Hey,
So you support Celtic then?
so are you, or are you just like?
The point I was going to raise is I was younger and I don't really think I quite clicked with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But is there, I don't know if I just haven't got it, but see when you go to a football game, is there a moment where you sort of just immerse yourself in the atmosphere of the game and.
There's like
Usually after a goal. to be
yeah,
fair.
after the goals, it's like the atmosphere.
the
is
light shows
brilliant.
Yeah, that too. When you've been at an evening Celtic game this season, there's been a quite impressive light show
Yeah.
after Red Bull Leipzig came to Celtic Park, and that's spurred up the fans. They've wanted to follow on that show
Yeah.
with a show from themselves and a show from the team, and that's been quite encouraging for the fans. So yeah, it's usually around about just before the game or just after a goal's scored that the atmosphere really starts to pick up and you just get swept away with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
just,
great.
it's
Love
as
it.
if you just blend into one, and it's just the one
It
voice.
is. And I love it.
It's brilliant.
It's like on a European night, it could mainly be attributed to when you sing "You'll Never Walk Alone."
Oh,
Um,
that's
50,000
shivers. Shivers.
Nearly 60,000 scarves go up in the air, and just everyone singing as one.
I'm getting
It's-
chills now thinking
Same.
about it.
It's quite an
Mental.
impressive noise. Like, there's been players from the top level of football, world football. Lionel Messi came out
Yeah, didn't
and said
Barcelona?
this was the best atmosphere I've ever experienced. He plays in front of 90,000 people on a regular occurrence. Like, it is a testament to the fans that they can make that sort of noise and impress that calibre of player.
Should we give them a wee teaser of Walk Alone? Never Walk Alone?
No, let's
thanks,
just
Rhea.
let-
On you go.
No singing voice, kidding.
Let's leave Celtic Park to do the talking.
Yeah,
for that
let them
Yeah.
experience.
So, I've been clicked at. I'm not happy about the fact I've been clicked at. I don't know if I just never. See, talking about that one voice. Talking about that one voice. A final kind of question here. Now I'll go around all of you. Talking about that having one voice and being part of one voice.
Yep.
Do you think that lends itself to sectarian behaviour? Morgan, do you think while that kind of melding as one and being that great atmosphere is really good, it can also lead to people doing things they normally wouldn't do?
Well, it depends really what game it is. So like if it's like if it's a like night game, so it's like a European game, it's like you're just supporting your country and you're all wanting to be that the one voice and you're happy and like, everything's like that. It just depends really.
Ria, what do you think?
Yeah, it depends. But like,
So if you're playing another Scottish team, it would lend itself more to sort of inappropriate behaviour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
depends what
Because-
team as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it can be worse, and especially like where the decisions made in that game as well, it can rile people up like really
Yeah.
badly, and
as-
other people have opinions. So
As you said earlier on, it's like you can arrest one person, you can't arrest 60,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So that rounds up our second episode of Two Men and a Bell. Thank you all for listening. Thanks to Morgan and Ria for coming along
Hail, hail.
and being on for being on the podcast. We would be happy to have you back if we decide to have another football one in the future. So stay tuned for our next one. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.